In this video, we are going to talk about the assert statement that we have got in Python programming language. So what is this assert statement and why do we actually use it? Well, we use this assert statement in Python programming language to help us to write the sanity check whenever we are creating our code. So these checks, we actually call it as assertions. We call it as the assertions. So whenever you are referring any documentation from Python programming language, we would see that people implementing the assertion statement. And that's one of the common question that I would get in most of the live classes. And hence I thought of answering the same in this video so that everyone can benefit on the understanding of this assert statement. So we use this assert statement to test if my certain assumptions is remaining true or not whenever I'm developing the code. Now, if any of my assertions has turned to be equal to false, then that would mean that there is a bug in the code. So I can say this assertions or the assert statement that we have got is one of the convenient way for us for documenting, debugging, as well as testing the code whenever we are creating any development. It could be the machine learning development or it could be the simple programming development that I'm doing it with a Python programming language. Now, once you have debugged and tested the code with the help of assertion, then if you want, you can also turn them off as well whenever you're using it for production. So that's the benefit that we have got while working with this assert statement. So let us understand how to use this assert statement and how it actually works. So here, when we talk about this assertions, so as I mentioned, we use it for sanity check. And this is majorly used for debugging purpose. So they'll help us to ensure that we don't introduce a new bug whenever we are adding the new features or whenever we are fixing the other bugs in the code. Okay, so when we start working, okay, so here the general syntax of this assert statement is we'll write as assert followed by the expression. Okay, then we can mention the assertion message. So this is called as the common syntax of the assert statement. So in Python, this assert is actually treated as a keyword. The expression or the condition of the test is mentioned over here, and this is followed by an optional message. The condition is supposed to be always to be true. If the condition is true, then nothing is going to happen for us. And our program is going to continue with the normal execution. On the other hand, if the condition becomes false, then the assert is going to stop the program by raising a different kind of an error, which is called as an assertion error. Let me demonstrate the same by utilizing this syntax. So I'll open up my Jupyter notebook. Here, for the demonstration purpose, I'll say that number is equal to, let's say 100. Okay, I've created a variable, I've assigned the value equal to 100. And I'm going to say assert, okay, number greater than 0. So which means I'm checking whether this number is greater than 0. Obviously, in this case, it is greater than 0. So this is holds to be true. So since it is true, nothing is going to happen. So if I execute this cell, see, I see nothing as an output because it is true. Now observe carefully what happens when it becomes false. I'll say assert number less than 0. Now this is actually false, and if I execute this, I should be getting an assertion error. Okay, so if I execute this, see, I've got a error over here which talks about the assertion error. Okay, so this is how we can assert something. Okay, so here whenever we are working, so the assertion message that I have mentioned earlier, it is actually an optional, but it is always encouraged. It actually mentions about the string which describes what is the issue that we are having and what is it that we have to actually catch whenever we are performing the debugging. Okay, so that is the overall idea about this assertion. So whenever I'm implementing it, okay, so the way that I would implement is something like this. Like if I want to include the message, I will say that the number is expected to be greater than 0 but got this number. Okay, now if I execute this, okay, me do, yeah. Now if I execute this, now I'm seeing an error that says that the number is expected to be greater than 0. So, okay, let's do one thing. Okay, number is expected to be greater than 0 and I'll set the value of number to be equal to minus 10. I think now it would make sense. Now I'm checking whether the number is greater than 0. Okay, so my number is equal to minus 10, hence this will become false and I'm getting the message as I'm expecting the number to be greater than 0 but I got the value as minus 10. So this message in the assertion, it clearly states, okay, in which condition this assert statement is going to become true. So even though this is an optional one, but that is mentioning the string message, it is always encouraged that you add it so that you'll get a better idea as how it is actually working. Okay, so this is the overall idea, team, and some of the common mistakes and that I would generally observe when the learners are implementing this assert statement is they will generally mention it inside. So I've seen learners mentioning the entire assert statement inside a tuple. So when you mention it inside a tuple, okay, this is a wrong implementation, team. So this will be treated as an individual object. Okay, now you are actually getting a warning message which says as syntax warning. It's not throwing any error message. The reason because so this syntax rating, the assertion will always become true. So that's the reason it is encouraged to remove the parenthesis. That means you should not be writing it as a tuple. So this is one of the common mistake that I have seen with the learners whenever they are using this assert statement. So this was about the basics of assert statement in Python programming language. So I hope you have learned something new today. So folks, thank you again for watching and I look forward to seeing you in the next video where we will discuss more about the Python tricks and tips. So I look forward to seeing you next time.